Hey, you steady, stable communicators. You're great at accommodating. You're wonderful listeners. You're getting things done in your organization, but there are drains that are happening on your time. And I want to talk about some of those reasons that are time wasters for your style and give you some solutions. So welcome to the Help for Leaders podcast. I'm Stacey Harris. Before we dive into today's episode, click here to subscribe. Ring that bell so you're notified each week when we post new content. I'm right in the middle of a series of time wasters for each of the 4 disc styles. Today, we're going to talk about that steady, stable style. So the steady individuals are all about pace and consistency. You like to know the routine. You like to know the boundaries. You want to work within those limits. You're also individuals who are very patient. You're very relaxed. You prefer kind of loyal, long-term relationships, and you want closure. And sometimes when there's lots being thrown at you that are outside of your norm, things can pop up and it can be where you're just holding back and maybe not disclosing all the things. So those really can drain you of not only your energy, but definitely your time. Today, I want to talk about 5 causes of those time wasters for your style and give you some solutions as well. So number 1, postponing the unpleasant. So postponing the unpleasant is similar to procrastination, but it's a little different in that you kind of reprioritize your daily tasks. So it's often a way of even delaying something that's just not enjoyable. Rather than doing it first, you put it off. Pretty similar to procrastination, but it has to do with priorities. So let's talk about some of those causes. First of all, you don't like conflict. That's pretty normal for your style. Not only conflict in relationships, but conflict in your environment. So if there is a task or a project that's going to bring about some conflict, maybe it's even internal conflict. Maybe it doesn't have to be with someone else. That's a reason to delay. And you also want to feel successful as you check off your to-do list because you do like routine and you like going through that pace that's very consistent with your style. And so delaying the unpleasant things will allow you to focus on and accomplishing things that you feel successful at that are simpler to accomplish. So here are some possible solutions. Changing your routine. And I realize just saying that word change can evoke an emotion in your style, but changing your routine from 1 week, just for a week, and focusing on the unpleasant tasks first can actually start building some muscle memory in you to be able to do those things sooner than later. Also, seeing the accomplishment of an unpleasant task as equal to or greater than achieving some of those mundane routine things can be helpful again for that brain shift of, oh, this is a good thing. And then rewarding yourself. I mean, just having some simple rewards for every unpleasant task that you get done and completed rather than postponing can also help you at getting some of those things done faster. And then confronting people. If it is a conflict with a person instead of a situation, having that conversation, being able to confront the people who are causing discomfort and even discussing some of those problems in a very healthy way can overcome that time waster. Number 2, resisting change. So resisting change is the process of either consciously or subconsciously not participating in the change process. I have whole podcasts on change and transition. I want you to go listen to those because it can help you. Change is the actual thing that's happening, and then transition is the psychological part that happens later on in the process. So resisting change is also making excuses, honestly, for just not having tasks accomplished. So here are some of the possible causes. We just need a high degree of security. That high S style wants security. That could be a possible cause. Maybe you just want to maintain the status quo. That can also be a cause. You like routine. routine. You like procedures. It's worked for you in the past, so you want to rely on that same consistency. That could be a possible cause. Maybe one specific aspect of a proposed change is kind of even just triggering you in some kind of way. That could be a reason that you want to avoid change again. Let me give you some solutions here. Acknowledging that change is a natural part of work, a natural part of our own growth, even a natural part of organizational development, that can be a possible solution. Just that acknowledgement can go a long way. And then developing the habit of writing down even pros and cons of a specific change. Something's happening, a policy is changing, maybe your job description is changing, maybe your team is changing, and even just listing pros and cons can be helpful for you as that steady style. And then evaluating each objection to the change can be really helpful for you. It's like, okay, why am I pushing back on this? What are my objections to the change? Evaluating those, listing them out. If there is one specific objection that's overriding your ability to change, share it with someone. Share it with someone on your team. Get their advice, get their input. That can be helpful. So the third time waster, I'm just going to tag this on to resisting change, or some of the habits or even the procedures that we kind of fall into that create stability for us. And so it's thought patterns, it's behaviors, it's doing things in kind of a repetitive way that reinforces, some of those consistent patterns that maybe are holding us back from stepping into the change that we need to. So some of those causes are really just that comfort in routine. It could be that routine creates security for you. And so it's not allowing you to think of something new, to be able to push forward even in change. Resisting change for change's sake. If you don't know how it's going to impact you, how it's going to be played out, that could be a reason that you push back and just waste time. And then maybe you've been praised for, some of those repeated behaviors or those habits that you've done in the past. And so you lean into those kind of consistent things. So here are some possible solutions: evaluating those habits and then deciding what's going to actually contribute to your success and maybe what's holding you back. Also, just trying some new things, trying to perform some new tasks can be really beneficial. Asking others for their recommendations can help you in developing new approaches. And then consciously practicing new things. Those are things that can really press you past that status quo. Number 4, failure to clarify precise responsibilities. So especially with your manager or your team members, assuming that they know the expectations and not having that clarity can be a time waster when that individual is maybe not understanding your role or the requirements for the job. So here's some possible causes when you're unsure of how you will be perceived. Maybe you don't want to overstep authority, so you're holding back. Maybe you just want to be seen as a team player. That's a possible cause. Or maybe you want to help everyone so that you do not object, like your manager or your supervisor who's requesting something that it's maybe beyond your responsibility. So here are some possible solutions. Have an informal conversation with that individual, with your expectations, and really express that to them. Share with them all of your responsibilities so that they do have clear expectations listed out. Clarify with your peers, with your manager, even duties and responsibilities. That will help. And then also really discussing, how we're going to get things done, how that procedure is going to play out so that you can have closure in that situation of really focusing on clear, precise responsibilities. And then the last time waster is not exercising authority. And that's really challenging for that steady style, that inability to make decisions that might adversely impact, some of the people that you're working with and hold you back. So let's talk about some of the possible causes. You want to be seen as supportive. You're all about accommodating and taking care of the team. That's a desire of yours. Another possible cause is believing people will do what is right. You assume the best in people. That can be a possible cause. Maybe fear of offending other people. That could be a potential cause of not exercising your authority, and then fear of creating conflict on the team. Maybe it's not even between you and a team member, but just conflict with others. So here are some possible solutions of exercising that authority. So number one, having clearly defined written performance objectives, having clearly defined written rationale, even for some of your specific decisions. Another way to exercise your authority is to even kind of have someone on your side, a team member, someone that you can confide in that will help you just amplify your voice to the team. And then lastly, you can just have someone with a different perspective than you do, kind of even talk about something from a different point of view as you're exercising, kind of learning how to speak your mind, walk in your authority, find your voice as you're stepping out to hopefully not waste time, but really enhance your performance. So I hope you've learned something today. Join me next week. It's our final episode on time wasters for that compliant, precise individual. If you enjoyed this episode and would like more information on emotional intelligence, DISC, or communication, click here to get more content. And we'd also love for you to click here to subscribe so you're notified each week when we post new episodes.